Hi, I'm Chap Bettis, author of The Disciple Making Parent, and this is my audio blog, where I read some of my blog posts in audio format for your convenience. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be thinking about thoughts for the strong-willed child. When I am out speaking, the Q&A time can help bring up issues that I did not cover, and they're great questions. The following is one from a recent conference, and you'll notice that much of the material comes from my material, Parenting with Confidence. The question was this: I've got two young children. One is strong-willed, and the other is very sweet. I feel like I'm correcting and disciplining the first one all the time. It feels out of proportion. Do you have any suggestions? Well, that's a great question, and we certainly faced some things similar to that. Here are things to keep in mind that apply to parents of younger children. I'm sure there are others, and I'd give different answers for older children. But for younger children, number one, be encouraged by the strong-willed one. And I know that may be difficult right now. Although you may be feeling discouraged right now, the strong-willed child usually grows up to be the strong-willed adult. And we want to capture that strong will and shape it to be submissive to us. So number one, be encouraged by the strong-willed one. Number two, don't give freedom that they can't handle. For the younger child, don't give them too much freedom so that you always have battles. Try and keep the funnel narrow and the choices limited. Sometimes we have battles because we're giving way too much freedom. So number two, don't give them freedom they can't handle. Number three, for the older child, encourage him or her. Say something like this: you have a really strong will, and that's great. God is going to use it someday for His glory. But in the meantime, you need to learn to submit to me. A godly person knows how to submit, and that's why I'm training your heart. And that's why you need to confess to the Lord when you push against mom or dad's authority. So number three, for the older child, encourage him or her. Number four, have clear rules and clear consequences. Even if one is always pushing the boundaries, you want to make sure that you're not coming up with arbitrary consequences. The house rules are the house rules, even if one child is the only one consistently getting punished. So number four, have clear rules and clear consequences. And I would say post them. So again, this comes from the material, Parenting with Confidence. Number five, be consistent. Kids are gamblers, so be consistent. Just keep being consistent in your giving out of consequences. So be consistent. Number six, don't compare. Don't say, why can't you be like your brother? I just tell him something once and he obeys. So don't compare the two. Number seven, as you correct, do so both as an authority and as a fellow sinner. Put your arm literally or figuratively around them as you identify with them in their sin struggle. Encourage them to cry out to the Lord for a heart that is submissive. So as you correct them, do it both as an authority and as a fellow sinner. Number eight, have a consequence for, quote unquote, testing the limits. In our house, we had an offense that we called testing the limits. It came about not so much from direct disobedience, but rather for a slightly defiant attitude that was looking to see how much he or she could get away with. We called it testing the limits. So have a consequence for that. That's not just living in your house and obeying you. That's looking to get away with something. Number nine, think more deeply about the other child. Be sure and think deeply about the compliant child. Make sure he or she realizes his own need for the Savior. Look for evidence of fear of man that drives the good behavior. Or look for self-righteousness that comes from being a, quote, rule follower. So number nine, think more deeply about the other child. Number 10, don't forget the story of the prodigal sons. A lot of people miss that there are two prodigal sons. One prodigal is ruining the family fortune and his father's honor through sin. And we focus on this son and his story of redemption. But the other son is just as self-righteous and disconnected from his father. Both of our children need the Savior equally. One is self-indulgent and the other is self-righteous. Thank you for listening to the Disciple Making Parent audio blog. This article is really based on the material in our video parenting course called Parenting with Confidence. It's our video-driven study on the biblical foundations of parenting. It's specifically aimed at parents of young children, although parents of all ages could benefit. You can find more information on our website or at parentingwithconfidencestudy.com. Thanks for listening.